Welcome everyone to HueFin News. Today is October the 19th, 2018. This is the home of the 2-minute price prediction, as well as giving you all the news according to the charts. If you guys are new to this particular channel, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you like this video as well, at the conclusion of it, go ahead and like it and share it, because we are an organization that deals with the price charts. We look for the news on the price charts, and in lieu of that, we make sure that the articles that we read about, make sure that it correlates with what we're seeing on the charts. And for today, we're going to talk about the marijuana or the cannabis industry. Okay, this was an article written yesterday or posted to the internet yesterday on marketwatch.com, and the title reads, marijuana investors may lose 90% of their money in Canada, so consider the really big prize elsewhere. So obviously this particular analyst who wrote this article is expecting a huge drop to occur in the market for these Canada cannabis companies. This article was written by Aurora. It has a title of an analyst. I don't know what specific analyst he is, but definitely we're going to look at this article to see how deep of a drop this particular individual is expecting. So now I did highlight some things of interest that I think you all should want to hear, and also want to see, that I think should probe your intellectual thinking. So now we start off with this naive investors. Okay, yes, the cannabis industry is relatively new, and he's trying to state that there's a lot of people with the mindset of becoming rich before anyone else gets into this marijuana industry, that they're just piling in blindly, like they're not doing any research. So it calls them naive. They think that all they have to do is to buy a few marijuana stocks and they will become rich. So literally he's saying that there's a whole gang of people who are literally just buying cannabis companies just to get rich. Okay, so hopefully you all have been doing your research for these particular companies right now, because you definitely want to prove him wrong as to not being naive. Now let's look at it. The reality is that professionals will pick their pockets, and many naive investors who are excited now will end up losing 90% of their investment. So definitely there are other individuals in this particular space who are literally standing and watching and planning their strategies to do just that. They're going to try to take the money from those who do not understand market action. So first things first, investors need to pay attention to the big Canadian marijuana nightmare ahead. So there's definitely some negativity right there. Nightmare, something to be fearful of, something to be afraid of. It's something that a lot of people don't see coming. The nightmare will cause big losses for the uninitiated, but will present opportunities for the knowledgeable investor. So make sure that you all are definitely paying attention to these 5 particular stocks that we're going to talk about today, to make sure that you also will be a knowledgeable investor. So we're going to go ahead and look at some more things in this particular article before we'll look at these price charts, and we'll give you our analysis as what we expect these particular companies to do. So Canopy Growth is one of these Canadian cannabis companies. It is a little bit more solid, as he writes in this article, compared to the other major marijuana companies such as Tilray, Aphria, Cronos, and even Aurora Cannabis. Why did the smart money sell? So already he's going on to tell you that at the prices that these companies are traded at now, that on the other side of the trade is the professionals. Why did the smart money sell when the news is positive? The positive that he's trying to state here in this particular paragraph is that Canada has legalized marijuana and the long-term potential is great. That's supposed to be the positive news. The answer is that smart money always tries to get ahead of the curve. That is not true. Smart money always gets ahead of the curve. They don't try. They are always successful at getting ahead of the curve. That's why you got to pay attention to the price charts, because that's their footprint. This is one thing that all investors should strive to do. The smart money knows the big Canadian marijuana nightmare ahead. So that's why when we look at these price charts, make sure you pay attention to the type of consolidation that these charts are giving us. That is the indication that the smart money or the professionals are trading within that range and selling into the market. Okay. So this is the Canadian nightmare. So the estimate right now is that 4.9 million Canadians spent an average of $1,200 in 2017 on cannabis. Okay. In 2017, the total marijuana and related products market in Canada was about $6 billion. The Aurora report states that over the coming years, the market will expand to about $8 billion. So that's an increase of $2 billion. It's standing right now $6 billion. They're expecting it to go to $8 billion in the coming years. Now, that's a very broad terminology right there, coming years. The next thing I want to point out is that out of the $8 billion, they are expecting $3 billion to be illegal and the other $5 billion to be for legitimate companies. Now, in his report, he states that marijuana enthusiasts are wrong. After the initial surge, which we have already seen in the majority of these Canadian cannabis companies, marijuana prices will steadily decline. So he's looking for a decline after the initial surge in these Canadian companies. Okay. A big portion of the marijuana market will be commoditized. So that's definitely something that we need to be on the lookout for in the long term. And after tax profits from legal marijuana in Canada will be about $700 million per year. The valuation of the 10 largest Canadian marijuana companies right now is about $50 billion. If all Canadian marijuana companies, big or small, are taken into account, the total valuation right now is $125 billion. So that is the disparity that he's trying to point out as to why this particular market space is going to see a 90% drop. Okay, right now, out of the 10 largest, it's only about $50 billion, but currently the valuation, big or small, the whole conglomerate of cannabis companies in Canada is about 125. So that's definitely overvalued if these particular numbers are correct. So go figure, the present valuation is 125 billion, but the ultimate valuation of the Canadian marijuana market is likely to be 10 billion if significant international operation for these companies do not materialize. So that is literally what he is trying to insinuate, is that these Canadian companies will be relying on taking their cannabis international or global in order for them to see that 125 billion valuation. If they don't, and it stays localized within the Canadian economy, then $10 billion is about all you're going to get, is literally what he's saying. So based only on the Canadian marijuana market, you will lose 90% of your value if it materializes and they do not internationalize their companies. Okay, so keep that in mind. So make money in marijuana. The key to making millions in marijuana is the international markets, branded products, wellness solutions, and marijuana-based treatments and cures. So that is going to take the time in this particular industry to make sure it can pan out and see if it actually can legitimize, to see whether or not this particular market, this cannabis market, actually increases to around $125 billion. That is for the long term. Now, in the short term, and if they're not able to make their economic business international, then definitely 90% decrease definitely seems probable. Okay, so let's look at these particular price charts and see these cannabis companies located in Canada to see whether or not they will in fact drop to lower prices. Okay, so the first one up is going to be Canopy Growth. This is a weekly chart for this particular market, and literally the article told you that the smart money was definitely selling into the euphoria to the naive investors, and that's literally what's going on this weekly chart. You can definitely see all that excessive volume that's coming in on this particular chart. And right now you can see that we are still within this consolidation. That's literally the market participants selling at these high prices before the market will continue its fall. I have given you all like a ascending triangle. Right now you can still see here that there's still some weakness in the market. I will be still expecting Canopy Growth to move to the downside as well. I don't see a lot of euphoria coming into this particular market, where as a matter of fact the volume is decreasing, letting us know that the interest to the upside is definitely waning as well. So I don't see a lot of strength coming to Canopy Growth right now, but as we continue to trade throughout time and we stay above this ascending line that is drawn on this particular chart, definitely anticipate the market for Canopy Growth to continue its movement to the upside. But as of right now, I'm still expecting that consolidation to continue and possibly even movement to the downside, okay, because we're still seeing indications that the market participants are selling in this particular company around that $52 to $56 price area. So now the next Canadian company is going to be Tilray. Tilray currently is up 1.29%. And again, just like with Canopy Growth, we are seeing some sellers in the market this particular week. And as long as we stay above this ascension line, this particular company is still giving us strength and growth. I will be expecting it though to continue to move lower, because we have tried within the last 3 weeks, including this week, $180 is still a huge area that this particular company cannot break. So I'm still seeing indication that Tilray is at best is going to consolidate, but definitely leaning to this continued movement to the downside for Tilray as well. So now you can tell that the consolidation area is about $180 as resistance. Might fall a little bit lower than that, towards 175, and the support area for Tilray is around 120. So again, we can still see Tilray break this ascension line just to hold support around 120. If the overall stock market has a huge correction, then all these Canadian companies can definitely move substantially lower in price. So just keep that in mind. But there's still no euphoria in the market for Tilray to move to the upside neither. So I will be in agreement that I'm still seeing some weakness in Tilray as well. I will be looking for this particular stock to move to the downside too. So the next one up is Aphria. You can see here that we have been bouncing within this consolidation. Again, another indication that the market participants are selling at those prices. Okay, you can tell by the excessive volume at the bottom of this chart as well that that's literally what's going on in the market. So at least I'm expecting that to continue to pan out, to trade within this trading channel. But overall, I'm still seeing that the market is not overly strong neither. So the long-term potential for Aphria is still that continuation to the downside, okay? But once the market participants completes their business transaction of prices around this area, then it will be a very severe drop in price. Might come down to $12. Ultimately, I can see it coming all the way back down to $10 long term. But as of right now, just expect that continued consolidation to continue. And then you'll notice once we'll break this channel that we're in, it'll break and have a very severe puts a go down bar in the market to let you know that yes, we're definitely going to continue to move to the downside. But as of right now, I'm still seeing that consolidation. But again, the market participants are selling around that $13 to $16.50 price area. So just understand that this is not a buying opportunity as of yet. Understand that the market participants are definitely selling in this space. So now let's take a look at Cronos. This is the monthly chart for this particular stock as well. You can see here that it is trading in a channel just like with Aphria. We're getting a lot of stockpile coming into the market. No indications of market strength right now. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go through that consolidation just like with Aphria as well and Cronos. But the long-term trajectory, I'm still seeing indication that this stock is going to continue to move to the downside. It might come down to $8, hold support, or even $7. I can see that occurring as well. But right now, weakness is still coming in the market. So there's not any strength being revealed right now on the daily price chart. So again, Cronos is giving us some weakness alongside with Aphria, Tilray, and Canopy Growth. I will be looking for this stock to move to the downside as well. So just keep that in mind. Even though in the near term we can continue to bounce in within this trading channel to where $9 will be support and $13 would be resistance. But overall, if we do not see a change in tone in the market for all of these cannabis companies, then definitely the continuation to the downside is still in play. So now the last one is Aurora Cannabis. Okay, now this particular stock as well has seen a very substantial increase in price over the last couple of weeks. You can see here that the market, even on this particular week, was still able to move to the upside, only to come to prior areas of resistance around that $12 area. We came in and clipped that this week, and now we're currently closing well off of the highs for this weekly bar. Daily price chart still shows you there's still some buyers in the market. I cannot deny that fact at all, and that is literally what the article is trying to pan out, is that the naive investors are still buying within this particular market, expecting the cannabis industry to be successful and very profitable. So that's why you can tell that the market participants are selling within these particular cannabis companies. You definitely need to be on the lookout for that. Out of all 5 of these cannabis companies, I could definitely see Aurora being probably one of the strongest. It's not necessarily giving us a lot of indications of some weakness right now, but given the overall fact that this market is relatively new, and we have seen indications that the market participants are selling into these high prices, I can definitely see Aurora fall in the same suit as the other 4 cannabis companies. So definitely want to be on the lookout for that. But as of right now, I will say that Aurora Cannabis is probably one of the strongest. If I had to choose, I will say that Aurora Cannabis is probably the strongest out of the 4, but I will still be on the lookout for the market selling into this particular price as well for Aurora Cannabis. And if we do drop in Aurora Cannabis, just understand that this is the ascension line. So as long as we stay above this line, then the overall market move is still to the upside, but we can come down back to around $9 to hold support long term. So overall, I still see the overall cannabis market in Canada definitely showing us some weakness right now. But as we go throughout next week and even the week after that, we maintain the trade within the channel and even see more precursors of strength bars in the market, then these cannabis companies are still reflecting more strength. But right now, yes, I can see the market participants selling at these prices. Definitely want to be on the lookout for these companies. So now I would like to know your opinion. What do you all think is occurring in the cannabis market for these Canada companies? Do you think, in fact, that we will see a 90% drop in the market? Let us know your comments. We do like to hear your opinions as to what you think about this new industry. And as well, this is your first time looking at this particular video, go ahead and like and share and become a subscriber of this particular channel, because we definitely do an in-depth analysis without the confusion, looking at the price charts to make sure that what we're reading, what we're seeing on the television, on videos, actually looks the same as what the price charts look like. Again, make sure you all maintain your profitability. I will talk to you all later.